Good afternoon from the second age of reason. Let's say you're at the store. You've purchased something for $10. You hand the check out, $20. So you're expecting $10 back in change. Now, if you get $5 back in change, you feel you've been wronged. It's a little injustice. If you get $15 back in change, that's not right either. You might feel a little better about it, but it's still not right. It's not just. Or, if you're expecting $10 change back and the $10 goes to somebody else, that's not right. Or if the person next to you has $2 change coming back and you get that $2, that's not right either. These are all little injustices. And the reason I mention them is because in some cases the injustices are not so little. They're soon to be in execution. And the guilt of the person is perhaps a little in doubt. Some of the witnesses have recanted. You know, if one witness recants, it might just be sympathy. If two of them recant, you start to wonder. If three or more of them, I think there's reasonable doubt. So, in that case, I think the person is at least worthy of a little bit of prayers that perhaps they will reconsider the justice and the quality of it in this case. I like praying for lost causes, although I don't have much confidence in this one. So, that brings to mind some of the surrounding issues as well, because the victims of the crime many years ago, they are victims and they feel something has to be done, justice has to be served, and this person has to pay. Now, I suppose if this person was guilty and deserving of it, and everything went through as properly done, that would be probably okay. But if you're just getting justice for the sake of saying, well, somebody has to pay, that leaves open the fact that it's possible to execute an innocent person not guilty of the crime. And so, what does that mean? Well, if you execute the person who did not commit the crime, sure, somebody's paid for it. You can close the book and be done with it once and for all. But that means that the person who did commit the crime still walks free. Keep that in mind. So, I sort of mention this because we've had similar cases in my area too. Case of Stephen Avery. And you can break it down to lots of simple truth and false things. So in the first thing, he was convicted of a crime and he went to jail. And they were sure it was him, and they convicted him even though he insisted he was innocent. 18 years in jail. And then they decoded the genome. Evidence has been re-looked at, and it turns out he was innocent after all, just as he had claimed. So, justice imprisoned an innocent man. And like I mentioned earlier, the guilty one was still on the loose and still committing crimes. All because somebody had to pay. So, after 18 years behind bars, he was released. And in his case, he actually had a job waiting for him. Family business. Which you think he has all the opportunity in the world, although he's lost 18 years of his life. He started up a lawsuit against that injustice and tried to get on with his life. And then something happened. Somebody ended up dead on his property. And of course they blamed him. And of course they found all the DNA evidence they needed for that. And it brings certain things to mind again. Went to court, and of course he was convicted. And he's in jail now for life. And his lawsuit he was going to do for the other wrongful imprisonment, well, it simply went away, as you might expect. So some things come clear from this. Something about the quality of the jail system, the penal system here, that you put an innocent man in jail, and, number one, does it turn him into a murderer? Clearly, you have to question the quality of the rehabilitation. Now, that's if he did commit the murder. And again, if he did not commit the murder, as he claims he didn't, then that would mean that the real murderer is still at large. Something to keep in mind. But at least somebody's had to pay, and justice has been served. I just thought I would mention that. What is the purpose of justice? To make sure somebody pays, or to make sure that crime is punished and the innocent can go free? I'm just thinking that we have to consider some of these things, because you never know who the next innocent person will be. A lot of people have been found innocent by means of DNA evidence now, which is interesting. But now that we're at this point, you can now probably get some people released from prison who were imprisoned improperly based on this evidence, because there's been a delta, a shift in the quality of evidence. But now that it exists as a matter of practice, it's also probably getting to be easier to frame somebody with this evidence and thereby get an even tighter conviction. So it's a two-edged sword, either way you cut it. So I just thought I'd leave these ideas to you. So, like I said, people are either guilty or they're not guilty. And then who should pay? Just something to think about as we see what happens in the system of justice these days. So until later, we'll be seeing you. Oh, by the way, go ahead, comment below if you like. And we'll see what comes out.